Hey everyone, welcome to episode 3 of Let's Talk Books. We are back after a little bit of a hiatus. I would have loved to come on here a little sooner, but such is life. I'll try to get into more of a rhythm here after this episode. This is a 2-for-1 episode, so we are going to be discussing these popular books right here. Maybe you've heard of them, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. They have definitely been buzzed about recently, so I'm excited to give you my take on both of them. And yeah, maybe they are new to you, or you've heard of them and you're not so sure if you want to read them. Maybe this will help you decide. I hope that it does. So yeah, I'm first going to talk about Fourth Wing. So Corey here, my husband behind the camera, will ask me the questions for this one, and then I will move on to Iron Flame. So Fourth Wing. And both of these are fantasy books. I will say that. I think I did that the last couple of episodes, so just want to make sure I'm going over the genre. Also, it's been called romantasy, so we've got some romance thrown in with the fantasy, which actually is ultimately what persuaded me even more to read them, because fantasy is not my go-to genre necessarily. But yes, so fantasy category. Fourth Wing is about Violet. She is our main character in this book. It's about a war college called Basgiath. I think I'm saying that correctly. So it follows her. She is not somebody who is expected to become a dragon rider, but does against all odds. So yeah, I don't really want to give too much away. I think sometimes it's best to, or can be best to read a book not knowing too much. I like to give spoiler-free reviews. So yeah, she is part of this war college. She has a pretty intense mother. Definitely lots of other characters are introduced in this story. There are plenty of dragons, so if you like dragons, yeah, I would say this definitely reminds me of like Harry Potter with dragons. I think a lot of people have compared it to that. So yeah, I will have Corey start sending the questions my way now.
All right. What was your overall opinion of this book?
My overall opinion was that I absolutely loved it. I wasn't sure if I would love it, so I did kind of go into it hesitant, but I had heard such good reviews, so that I did have high hopes. But again, fantasy is not my normal, like, yep, I'm gonna pick that up and read it. So it definitely exceeded my expectations. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Could not put it down.
All right. How did it make you feel?
I was very tense throughout the whole book, I feel like. So again, not wanting to put it down, I couldn't turn the pages fast enough. I wanted to know what was going to happen next. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of tension. I definitely was curious to see what would happen with Violet and Xaden. Xaden is the main male character in the book. I definitely enjoyed their relationship. That made the story that much more interesting.
Would you recommend it?
Yes, I've already been recommending it to like everybody who can breathe, basically. So if you're alive, I've been recommending it. I feel like it's a book that people should try, even if they also are not big into fantasy. Because I think that there's a lot of depth with it. It had a lot going on. It definitely can keep your interest. So I've been telling lots of people to read it.
What was your favorite or least favorite part?
I had a lot of favorite parts because, like I said, I really loved it. Yeah, my favorite part was probably the ending, even though I also, it was like a love-hate relationship with the ending, because it was definitely a big cliffhanger, which, you know, it helps you get set up for the next book. So I understand when authors do that, but so maybe I'll say that was my favorite and my least favorite part, because my jaw hit the floor, and then I was like, oh, I have to wait now I didn't have to wait that long, because I jumped on this bandwagon a lot later than other people. But even still, I didn't start Iron Flame immediately. So I was like, what's going to happen now? So yeah.
Did the book teach you anything?
I think it taught me about trust. There's a lot of like trust issues in the book between Violet and Xaden, but also with family members too. So again, I won't give anything specific away. But yeah, just like learning to trust people who you do feel like you're close to. And yeah, I guess also being careful who you decide to trust. So both things.
All right. So how would you rate this book?
This book got a very easy 5 stars for me.
Seems like it would.
So I think we're moving on to Iron Flame now. Yeah, so again, romantasy, I guess we're calling it for the genre here. This book was much longer. You can see that. It does pick up, you know, where we left off at the end of Fourth Wing. Not like right in the exact same scene, I would say, but you know, it just does kind of get right back into it. So we're back at Basgiath War College, and it continues from there. It's like a full-on war situation in this book. So there's just, yeah, lots of political talk in this book too, I would say. And goes back into the dynamics of Violet and Xaden's relationship. So we explore more of that. Definitely a lot of character development in this one too, so we just see more of everybody's stories and how they all weave together. This also has a pretty jaw-dropping ending as well. So yeah, that's like the brief synopsis of this one.
What was your overall opinion of this book?
My overall opinion is that I liked it. I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say that I loved it. So it was a little bit of a disappointment coming off of the high of Fourth Wing into reading this one. However, I knew that that was a possibility because of a lot of reviews that I read before I picked this one up. But yeah, I definitely still enjoyed it.
How did it make you feel?
This one I felt very tense throughout too, but not till about like the halfway mark. And like I said, very long book. So I mean, the first part was a little slow for me. So I guess that made me feel a little frustrated because I was kind of waiting for it to pick up and get to the point where I couldn't stop turning the pages fast enough, just like with Fourth Wing. Yeah, so kind of like some frustration throughout the book, I guess.
Would you recommend?
Yes and no, because it kind of depends on how you feel about a book series. Because if you're like a commitment person, like I am, so I'm like, when I sat down to read Fourth Wing, I knew I was gonna like read the entire series, no matter how many books she put in the series. So for me, it would feel weird to stop at Fourth Wing and, you know, not read this one. But this book in itself is a commitment at 623 pages, I believe. And again, it's kind of slow. It takes a bit to get back into the story, I think. So yeah, I guess my answer is yes and no. If you can live with not knowing like what happens in the rest of the series, or maybe you just want to read somebody's review that has spoilers and that's good enough for you and you don't need to actually read the book, then, you know, if that works for you, great.
All right. What was your favorite or least favorite part of this book?
My favorite part was Xaden. I really enjoyed him in both books, but I just really like him as a character. Violet, on the other hand, I didn't care for. So the female main character really actually annoyed the heck out of me in this book. So that's a hard thing when the main character and the one telling the story, so it's from her perspective, that you don't even really like the person. She got better towards the end of the book, but for the majority of the book, yeah.
So besides not liking Violet, did this book teach you anything?
Yeah, I feel like it taught me about sacrifice. I feel like in the first book, it like felt like trust was what I was kind of, you know, like seemed like a big theme of the book. This one, I feel like, yeah, it was like sometimes people make an ultimate sacrifice. So it made me think of like, what would I be willing to sacrifice in my life? Granted, this is a very fictional world that this author is painting. You know, so I'm very likely not gonna like, you know, I'm not gonna be dying at the, you know, feet of a dragon, for example. But yeah, just some interesting, I guess, introspection on sacrifice, whether it be for a friend or, you know, a family member. Yeah.
All right, so you gave Fourth Wing an easy 5 stars. What about Iron Flame?
I still give this one 4 stars because I still was very invested in the story. Yeah, I definitely still want to see how things play out. I would say I really was getting into it probably about halfway through. So I still felt like 4 stars was a good rating.
All right.
I think that's that. So yep, here we have it. I'll hold them in order so you can see. Fourth Wing, and Iron Flame. I say read both of them, and then I don't know what the next book is going to be called, but I'm excited for whenever that one comes out. And I will be back hopefully sooner rather than later with another book review for you. So.
All right. Here's our dog, George. Hey, George. And also, Christmas tree still up.
Our tree is still up, but it does have the ornaments and the lights.
We're much closer.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.
See you, bye.